the Super Bowl 58 goes to the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs on this final play. Mahomes, the former Chief and former Jet, returning to the Chiefs. Mecole Hardman scores the game-winning touchdown in overtime to have the Chiefs win their third Super Bowl in 5 years. Mahomes reclaims Super Bowl MVP once again for the third straight time. It was a pretty good Super Bowl all around, I would definitely say. The Chiefs, what a mission they have been on this entire season. Mahomes' worst season statistically. This team looked like they were dead in the water, multiple points in the air, but somehow pulled it out in the end against one of the league's best defenses, one of the league's most explosive offenses. In totality, this was an incredible victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to know, what do you think, or what did you think of the Kansas City Chiefs' performance in Super Bowl 58?
The heart and soul of a champion. That's what I would say about this game. That team, they showed that they have the experience playing in the Super Bowl, that they drew on that experience. They didn't lose their cool when they got down by 10 points. All their players were focused and played extremely well. They minimized their mistakes, even though Mahomes threw one interception. And, that was really the only mistake that I saw.
Pacheco had the fumble as well.
Pacheco had a fumble, right. That's right. Those two turnovers but they weathered those turnovers. They had a number of players that you wouldn't think of that came up pretty big in this game, I thought. Leo Chenal, right? He forced the fumble from McCaffrey.
On the first drive.
And, it didn't amount to any points going the other way, but it stopped the 49ers from scoring on the first drive. And I thought that was big. And he also blocked the extra point. And that was big, right? That missed extra point was huge, right? That would have meant that the Chiefs needed to score a touchdown there going down near the end of the game instead of being able to kick a field goal.
Right.
And they had a fourth down there, and they went for the field goal and tied the game, which sent it into overtime. They would have had to go for the touchdown there. They might not have scored it. That was a huge play in the game. And then there was the center, Creed Humphrey. There were no pressures on Mahomes coming up the middle and the whole game, so he played great. Nick Aguiletti, who was replacing Joe Thuney, he played in all of the playoff games, and he was very credible, I think. I mean, given that Thuney is an all-pro, to lose that guy and still manage to win the Super Bowl with a backup player who was originally drafted by the Chiefs and brought back this year on a one-year deal, I thought he deserves a lot of credit. And then on the defense, Mike Pennell, who was signed at midseason, he was the second. He was a real run stopper in the game, and he had the second highest graded defender on the Chiefs. So those guys, no name guys, right? And one more, Tommy Townsend, the punter.
Yeah.
He put him in. He averaged 51 yards on his punts, and he made sure that the 49ers started in not great field position on many of their drives. So, and there were a lot of punts in this game. Given all of the yards, I mean, it was really quite a game when you think about it. I think they each punted 5 times.
10 total punts, yeah.
Yeah. And the 49ers had 382 yards and the Chiefs 455.
Yeah.
So, there was an overtime period. So that probably
it plays into it a little bit.
That played into it a little bit. But I would say, the heart of it and soul of a champion, that's how I would describe the 49ers effort, with everybody contributing. I'm seeing the Chiefs. Yeah. So with everybody contributing and not making many mistakes. The penalties were minimized, and I was very impressed. I had picked the Chiefs to win 24-21. Yeah. They wound up 25-22, so I was pretty close.
Very close. I picked 27-22 49ers. I was also pretty close. I was
the wrong teams.
Wrong team, but I was 2 points off for the wrong team. This was, and as you've talked about it, this reminds me as well as you of the 2018 Patriots, where people were counting them out, especially in the playoffs, where, except Tom Brady was a little bit old, getting on the older side. The tight end, Rob Gronkowski, wasn't looking as effective in the regular season as he has in his years. Travis Kelce didn't look as explosive. He didn't score a touchdown until the playoffs past week 11. There were a lot of reminiscent things. The defense was coming up big in big-time moments, and then the playoffs struck, and lo and behold, we're seeing the old Gronk again. big-time catches in the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Has the biggest catch in the entirety of the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 53 in near triple coverage, making the big-time plays. Travis Kelce, same thing in the playoffs, making the big-time plays, 4th and shorts, 3rd and shorts, drawing cornerbacks and defensive backs away from the guys who are going to get the ball. And what's crazy is that we talked about this receiver group and how Mahomes has to change the way he plays from more of a explosive, dynamic offense where he's sending 75-yard bomb touchdowns to Tyreek Hill. It's now need to be more dinkin' dunkin' game managery. What was shocking about this game is that we actually saw a beautifully thrown pass and a deep shot from Mahomes to, once again, Mecole Hardman. It was a beautiful throw rolling out to your left, bombing it, and then the 49ers number, was it 31 in coverage, completely blew the coverage. I don't know why you're slowing down when you're, seeing a guy run right past you because you're a safety. I don't understand that. That's the fault of the 49ers, but this Chiefs team, this was historic because now they're the 9th team in NFL history to repeat, and now they're heading towards a three-peat, which has never been done in NFL history before. But this season is a culmination of the Chiefs overcoming any doubts anybody had. This team with no real receiving core, or a very young and limited receiver core, you got rid of your liability, Kadarius Toney, a healthy scratch for a number of weeks. After that Patriots tipped interception, Mahomes was done with him. Besides that, all the other drops and the other tipped interceptions, and then you also had the penalty, the offensive offsides, which killed their chances of beating the Bills in the regular season. The Chiefs fixed their mistakes. The defense came up big in this game, pressured Purdy, made sure to disrupt the middle of the lane, batted a couple of his passes, and the first half was a little bit shocking. I mean, you had to, the first half was bad. The Chiefs looked overmatched, overpowered. The 49ers defense, which has been gotten throughout these playoffs, they came up big in the first half and forced Mahomes into a couple mistakes, couple 3rd and outs. Not really great offense in the first half. Then the second half opens and the floodgates open when it came with the Chiefs. And, they were very fortunate on, a muffed punt, short field. That's a 4-second touchdown, by the way. That was their first touchdown of the game. And then in overtime, it looked like Mahomes was in complete control. And I want to speak about that because people are obviously debating Mahomes, Brady, and Andy Reid, Bill Belichick. I'm going to ask you, and we watched the very end of this game together, but when it was 10-6, in your mind, did you believe that the Kansas City Chiefs would come back and at least either tie the game up, make it interesting, or win the game? When it was 10-6 after that field goal, what were the thoughts going through your mind?
I did think they would come back because one thing I noted in this the line on the score,
the
49ers, neither team scored in the first quarter.
Correct.
Right? The 49ers scored 10 points in the second quarter, 3. The Chiefs had 3, and they only got their 3 right at the very end of the first half. And then in the third quarter, the Chiefs scored 10. The 49ers, nothing.
Right.
I think that has to do with Super Bowl experience, right? The halftime in the Super Bowl is much longer than normal, right? And they went flat, the 49ers. Yeah. They couldn't do much when they came out in the third quarter. It took them till the fourth quarter to get back in their groove, where they scored 9 points and the Chiefs scored 6, and then in overtime, 49ers 3, and the Chiefs got that touchdown, didn't have to kick the extra point. So I think that the experience, again, the Chiefs' experience in the Super Bowl shines through here, being there 4 out of the last 5 years, and knowing that you got to come out strong in the beginning of the third quarter because you've been sitting for a long time.
Right.
It's longer than normal halftime. So I did think they would come back. They've proven they can come back. They've come back. They came back in all their playoff games, right?
Yeah.
And they were on the road for all of their playoff games. And they, I just think they, as Mahomes said, I enjoy being the villain. When you go on the road as a playoff underdog and you beat the favorite team and they're at home, you're a villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And he proved that he can be a villain and be successful. 34-46, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. McCaffrey, 22. I'm sorry, Mahomes, also the leading rusher,
He was
9
leading
for
rusher,
60. And receiving Kelsey, 9 and 93. Their big players came up big time. Chris Jones, fantastic game.
He had a tremendous
right?
game.
And actually, that play that 49ers had third down.
Was it 3rd and 4?
3rd and 4, and they were knocking on the door, right? They were right down there, close for a touchdown.
I believe this is the clip you're talking
Yeah.
about. No.
Have you got that one?
Do we have it? Let's see. Yeah, this
is it right here.
He blows
Chris
it up.
Jones right up the middle.
He
blew it up. Then nobody even blocked him. This is a mistake on the offensive line, right? Nobody blocked him. And that was Purdy was under a lot of pressure.
He was.
He was under a lot of pressure. He was only sacked once, but the pressure was much greater against Purdy than it was against Mahomes.
49% when it came to Purdy.
And that contributed to them being only 3 of 12 on third downs. That was an important factor in the game. So the Chiefs' defensive line putting the pressure on Purdy was a factor in the game for sure.
I think what was fascinating about this game is that I think everyone, I know the Chiefs won, but they were getting outmatched the entire first half. A massive tell, I believe, was the fact that they were only up by 7, and they were completely outplaying the Chiefs. Mahomes could literally do nothing on offense. And the fact that it was only a 10-3 ball game, you're only up by 7 if you're the 49ers. And yet the defense is making Mahomes look pedestrian, and I was literally sitting there thinking, this is another bad Mahomes Super Bowl. He couldn't do anything. And then you open up the third quarter, Mahomes throws an interception. And what do? Not much. The fact that the Chiefs always stayed in this ball game, it really tells just how great Mahomes has been and how he is one of maybe 3 players in NFL history where, actually it's one of 2, where if you're down by 10 or more, you're saying that guy can go win it. Because Brady, I believe, down by 7 in the playoffs, he's 10 and 11. Everyone else is like, it's such a low percentage. Brady set the tone for this guy is completely different. If you're down by a touchdown, it's a coin flip whether or not you're going to win the game. Mahomes, I believe, is 9 and 3 or 9 and 2 in those situations. So Brady set the bar of this guy is unbelievably great. Mahomes is smashing that when it comes to just pure clutch. And this is another testament to it against a great defense who pressured him on, I believe, 42 or 40. It was 43% of his dropbacks. And the 49ers didn't blitz. They blitzed him 12% of the time. Meanwhile, the Chiefs blitzed nearly 50% of the time. Mahomes, when he was blitzed, was 6 of 6 for 50 yards. He was perfect. The pressure, the amount of adjustments Andy Reid made in that second half and that Mahomes made and this offense made, it showed in the second half because they came out in the third quarter, scored 10 points.
Yeah.
The defense stepped up big time, gave the 49ers a big goose egg in the third quarter, and really set the tone for how this game was going to turn out.
Yeah. I think the Kansas City, very well-coached team.
Absolutely.
Right? Extremely well-coached team. All their players. They all played well. And I think that that showed up big time. And I also think late in the game, the 49ers, well, actually, midway through the third quarter, I think the 49ers defense kind of ran out of gas. I mean, the Chiefs were moving the ball up and down the field then, and particularly in the overtime, man. I think the defense was gassed.
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
I think so as well. But I was very, very disappointed in the way the 49ers closed out that game. But gotta give props to the Chiefs. They're going for a 3-peat, which has never been done. I'm sure we'll talk about that eventually during the offseason or on Friday or whatever the case may be. But congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes and Andy Reid, 3 Super Bowl championships, and they're looking to go for their 4th in a first 3-peat in NFL history coming up next season.
They were talking about the target being on their back all year long because they were the defending champions, right? Well, what do you think it's going to be like next upcoming year?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.